Back with an update story, family, you know, if you want to call it that. I talked about this, you know, last weekend, Saturday on my live stream broadcast, which I do in the morning time, you know, of a shooting that happened in my area where a gunman went into a UPMC hospital, you know, in my hometown of York, PA, with a gun and some zip ties, you know, and harmed some of those hospital staff. And he also killed a West York area police officer of the area. You know, now they're just not giving out, you know, keeping this thing very tight lipped and, you know, maybe trying to do a little bit of sweeping it under the rug. They just ain't, you know, delivering a lot of the logistics in terms of, you know, what was the motive in this story. But they're now putting it out as, you know, that this was, you know, a targeted hit, you know, something along them lines, being as though he visited the hospital, you know, before um, this particular shooting took place. You know, maybe a week, you know, before this shooting took place, him and some other person visited this hospital. You know, the other person might have been hospitalized. I think they said something along them lines, and you just never know. You know, so this is why when you want to know the motive, you know, as to why this probably could have, you know, took place. You know, because maybe that person didn't receive health care. You know, not saying that's an excuse. I'm just, you know, trying to, you know, think about this thing, you know, from somewhat of a logical standpoint. Maybe that person didn't receive adequate health care, maybe died, you know, and he came back to kind of get some vengeance. Now, I was wrong initially when I put this story out. I put it out there as, you know, this was one of them pink folks. And, you know, I was wrong in that regard, you know, because when they gave the man's last name off, it was a Latino last name. You know what I mean? I just knew in all actuality it wasn't nobody from the FBA family because this ain't something that, you know, we do like that, just go off the deep end and, you know, harm a bunch of innocent people and things like that. So I knew it wasn't nothing of the FBA family, but I wasn't too far off, you know, saying that, you know, it was a white person, being that a lot of them Latinos, they try to align themselves with the dominant white society, even classify themselves as white. But, you know, getting back to the story, you know, they just ain't, you know, releasing a lot of details like intricate pieces as to cause or motives, you know. So we just got to keep, you know, our eyes and ears on this thing, you know, and I'm gonna be reporting it on it as, you know, new information develops. But as of now, they just saying it might have been, you know, it was a targeted hit. You know what I mean? This guy went in there, he knew right what he was going for. Maybe this is due to, you know, him and the person he was with not receiving adequate care when they was in the hospital, and you know he came back for vengeance. I'm just speculating right now. You know what I mean? I'm just, you know, putting my thinking cap on and thinking to, you know, why this man could have done that. You know what I mean? Because everything is up in the air right now. They're not releasing a lot of the intricate details. So I got the audio and the video of it, and we're gonna walk through and talk about it how we normally do, family. Fair use.
Memorial is growing as a Pennsylvania community mourns the loss of a police officer. The officer was killed in the line of duty when a gunman opened fire inside the UPMC York Memorial Hospital.
My condolences out to all those involved in this event. But the guy was he was eliminated. You know, the cops got rid of him. But let's continue.
Others were also injured in what investigators are calling a targeted attack. Authorities say 49.
See, a targeted attack, you know, that leads me to believe maybe when he came to the hospital that week in advance with him and that friend or whoever else he was with, maybe they didn't receive adequate care in the hospital. Maybe that person died. I'm just doing speculating right now because, like I said, they're not releasing a lot as to the motives on this. But let's continue.
9-year-old Diogenes Archangel Ortiz walked into the intensive care unit at UPMC York
Last name Ortiz. It was certainly a Latino, but let's continue.
Memorial Hospital around 10:30 a.m. York County District Attorney Tim Barker says he was armed with a handgun and zip ties and took multiple staff members hostage.
Mr. Diogenes Archangel Ortiz came out holding at gunpoint.
Maybe he went back in there as some sort of payback because something happened to one of his loved ones or somebody that he cared about while under the hospital care. We just never know.
Member of the UPMC staff who was also had her hands tied.
Gunfire erupted when officers tried to engage him.
Not saying that's an excuse, but we just looking at this thing with our thinking caps on from logical standpoints because they're not giving out all the intricate details as to a probable cause.
West York police officer Andrew Duarte was killed. This is a picture of him as an officer in Denver, where he worked from 2017 to 22. 2 police officers were also shot and wounded, along with a doctor, nurse, and custodian. The DA's office says Archangel Ortiz, who was also killed in the shootout, visited the ICU earlier this week for a, quote, medical purpose involving another individual, and that he went back with a mission.
If you are arriving,
what happened with him, visiting, for a medical purpose, him and that other individual. Did that other individual, suffer some kind of, malpractice or, did they in fact, die or something under medical care while he came back? Or, we need to know all the intricate details, you know what I mean? Because it's a lot of things that's still up in the air. They don't want to give out a lot of logistics to it. They got to start when things like this happen, making all the news available to the public. You know what I mean? So we can know what's going on. As whereas though a lot of times when they put out these big stories like this, they just try to keep things limited to the public. In hopes of sweeping it under the rug. I really don't rock with that.
at a hospital with a firearm and zip ties and immediately proceed to a specific area and engage in these actions.
He damn sure knew what he was doing showing up there. He showed up there with an intended purpose. He ain't just show up there lollygagging.
That this was targeted.
Governor Josh Shapiro praised those who tried to stop the violence.
The act of extraordinary bravery and courage by the healthcare workers here, by the law enforcement professionals who ran toward danger to keep people safe.
We need to rally around our healthcare workers.
Tonight, we pray for this community, and especially for the Duarte.
Yeah, who knows? Like I said, they're not, specifying a lot of the intricate details, but I want to say certainly my condolences goes out to everyone, who was hurt, harmed, or injured in this, horrific event, and I just think, something that we also gotta, keep in, our minds is that a lot of nonsense goes on nowadays in terms of the medical and the healthcare field, so maybe this guy didn't receive adequate care. The other person he was with, not saying that's an excuse, but you know what I mean? It's for sure as hell a lot of jankiness that goes on with these medical institutions. So, we just never know. And again, my condolences to everyone, who has, lost their life due to this senseless and, horrific event. And yeah, as more information and details become, available to the public, I'll be reporting on it if there are new developments, because, it seems to me like they're just trying to sweep this under the rug. Just my thoughts on the matter. Peace.